light the candles in my room, I look up to the midnight moon, and I think of you. I don't know why.
Sophie was a born musician. She was singing since she was born, really, and she was writing her own music, singing. She would come into the hospital all the time to come sing with the children, and she was set. That's what she was going to do.
She sang her whole life. She just grew up singing. We'd have to tell her at home to sometimes stop singing because it was just constant.
Sophie was a wonderful singer-songwriter, friend of ours, beautiful girl who would come to the hospital often and play her music. She really understood the ability for music to heal the children.
I light the candles in my room, I look up to the midnight moon, and I think of you.
Ready? Keep pushing together. Sophie Martin was a music volunteer here at the hospital, and she really understood the power of music and healing children. And she unfortunately passed away at a very young age. But her family wanted to find a way to really carry on what she started by helping children through music. They worked with the Steve Young Foundation and really created a dream of having a space inside of a hospital where music therapy could take place.
Sophie's life was cut really short, and we wanted a way to remember her. Now, I've always had a love for music therapy ever since my friend was in a coma 20 years ago, and I tried to get everyone to understand music therapy, but at the time, 20 years ago, people didn't really get what it was all about. But since then, the science has proven over and over and over, and now 72 hospitals have music therapists in the hospital. Doctors are writing prescriptions for music therapy. I mean, it's very powerful.
You know, over the years, you got great partners and great ideas and people doing great things, and this one's kind of organic from our foundation, and it's really my wife's vision for music therapy, Primary's vision for music therapy. This is the first physical place where music therapists are housed in the country, and the difference it's making in children's lives is profound.
Matthew was born with a congenital heart defect. He has spent a lot of time in the hospital. He has had some surgical repairs on the heart he was born with and went into heart failure, so he has needed 2 heart transplants. Matthew spent 6 months last year inpatient here waiting for a heart, and he loves music therapy.
Almost every day they would come to our room and either bring different instruments, he's made music videos, he's created his own versions of songs, and it's just taken his mind off of the pain that he feels.
We're hoping to take this around the country, and our dream is that musicians will come through Sophie's Place and use their talents to also create the healing effect for these children.
Time to take her home, her dizzy head is conscience laden. Time to take her out, it leaves today, no conversation. Music does do really amazing things for people, not only spiritually, but it also does great things for people physically. Steve called me and he's like, the Sophie's Place is going to open up, and I was wondering if you would mind coming down. I said, absolutely. I almost cut him off before he could finish.
For me, when I was a kid, music was my biggest therapy, and that's why I ended up starting to dance and started to play music and to sing. And music is a huge part of my life. To bring it into a hospital and for kids to learn music and to create something and to hear something and to learn something really is amazing. And I think it's very beneficial and it's healing.
I talked to Sophie's father, and we talked about how difficult everything was when Sophie passed away, and he basically said it's tragedy to triumph, and to have this kind of vision come to fruition, it took a lot of people.
it's such a beautiful thing to have such a statement of who Sophie was and what she's done and like how inspiring she was and still is. And so it's really cool and special.
We paid the price. We lost our daughter, but in return, we got such a wonderful payback and a great perspective on service. Music has always been close to our hearts, but to know that it brings healing and pleasure to these kids, we just know that Sophie will live on every day when they come in this room. They'll receive that joy that we saw in their faces. I love it.